His MVP. Golf swung, right field. Forget about it. Rangers strike first. Goes after the first one. Drills a high fly ball. Left center field. This game is tied. From Javier. Seager hits a high fly ball. Deep right field. A bomb into first. On swing. High drive. It's tied. Seager smashes the ball down the line. Goodbye. Now Seager to right center field. Way back there. Shot again. Corey Seager does it again. It's Rangers win the World Series. The Willie Mays Most Valuable Player Trophy presented by Chevrolet. Is there any doubt? Corey Seager.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of Right on Rangers Live, coming at you on a Thursday after a miserable series sweep in New York City in the Bronx. My goodness. 1-0 loss. The Rangers fall to the Yankees. It's a close series. Very close series. Every game, almost. I would say the 5-2 game maybe wasn't necessarily particularly close till the very end. Got a little interesting in the ninth. By and large, though, the bookends, the first game, third game, both winnable games. Absolutely. And even the second game felt winnable. I think all these games felt winnable. I don't know about y'all. I felt like every single game could have been won with the pitching that we got. I mean, even from Patrick Corbin, who started off on Tuesday, followed by DeGrom, followed then by Nate Eovaldi, who was brilliant today. Actually lowered his ERA. Appreciate the follow, by the way. How does that happen? Nate Eovaldi came into this game with a 1.61 ERA, and he lowered it today. Granted, only by 1,000th or 100th of a point, but hey, look, 161 to 160. Dude lowered his ERA today, and the Rangers still lost this game. Here's what's crazy. They were talking about this on the broadcast after the game, and I was at work today, so kind of had the game on and off. But 5-6. The Rangers are 5-6 in Nate Eovaldi starts this season. Dude has a 1.60 ERA, and the Rangers are 5-6. They have a losing record, the Rangers do, when Nate Eovaldi starts games. I can't even believe that. I could not even fathom that. I know the offense has been bad, so maybe some of y'all are sitting there saying, I could. I don't know, with how good he's been, it's just hard to believe that the team has a losing record. I could see 5-4, 5-3. I know Nate hasn't gotten every single win when we've gone on to win a game, but that is incredible to me. They have a losing record. That tells you a lot about the state of this ball club right now. And they're only one game under 500, but they have a losing record when Nate Eovaldi pitches, when he starts. Dude lowered his ERA today. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. It's sad. I got to agree. What do we do at the deadline? We try and get a bat, and we try and bolster up the bullpen. Bats and bullpen at the deadline. And look, y'all, I wish I had more for you. Who can we go get? All that stuff is going to unfold the closer we get. There's some names we've thrown out there already. It's just so fluid with how well teams are going to play before the deadline in May, in June. We just don't know. We just don't know. Let me cut to the intro real quick, and then I'll get back to y'all. We'll do a lot of comments and questions today. There's not a lot to go through in terms of box score. I mean, we're going to focus on some positives today, Nate Eovaldi especially. But we'll get into everything here in just a little bit, and we'll preview the White Sox series as well. First of all, here at Right on Rangers, we cover everything sports, but we put a big emphasis on all the teams we love from the great state of Texas, including the Rangers, and especially the Rangers during baseball season. Thank you for choosing Right on Rangers for all of your Texas Rangers content. We'll take questions. We'll take your comments. We'll do a little bit of everything today on the show. Not a lot to recap in terms of the game. There were a few big moments I think are worth talking about, but we're going to talk through it and move on to the weekend series. And the Rangers don't win 2 out of 3 in Chicago. We might see some full-on meltdowns from some of the Rangers faithful, possibly including me. I mean, it's getting ridiculous. At some point, things have got to change. I don't know how much they really can change right now without getting incredibly radical. It might be time. It might be time. We'll get into it. But first of all, we already talked about Nathan Eovaldi. He drops to 4-3 on the season. Only allowed 6 base runners today. 6 strikeouts. Gave up the home run to Vivas. First major league home run for him. Of course. Of course. Nathan Eovaldi has been a little susceptible to the home run ball this year. I would love to see how many he's given up total. I don't know if it's going to list it in the box score. Let me see if I can figure it out. Nathan Eovaldi home runs allowed on the year. Come on now. He has allowed a total of 4 on the year. Really not that much. He started 11 games, allowed 4 home runs. So not really. I mean, I'm being a little bit picky saying he's been slightly susceptible to the home run ball, but Nate pitched great. Nothing that you can say poorly about him today. You got to score a run to win a game. You don't score a run, you don't win the game. And so Nathan Eovaldi, the last person that we point blame to in this game, he goes 6 strong. Quality start for him. He's got to be a quality start, 6 or 7. I just had the stats up. Let me pull it up again. But another quality start. 6 innings pitched, 1 earned run. We keep going. Let me see if I can get that stat for y'all. Quality start. He is at where we at? 8 quality starts. I undersold a little bit there. 8 quality starts and 11 starts total. I mean, I was telling some of the guys that are in the Discord, by the way, paid subscribers, paid members, YouTube and TikTok, one of the perks, exclusive Discord chat. And we talk it up a ton in that during the games, after the games, late night. I mean, it's a little bit of everything. It's a great time. But we were saying it today, like, let's focus on some of the amazing performances that some of these pitchers are putting in. I mean, it's easy to rail on the offense, and we're going to do a little bit of that today. Don't get me wrong. We're going to talk offense today. But I just don't want to see Nathan Eovaldi, Jacob deGrom, Malley, Patrick Corbin, all these dudes that are just having phenomenal years. I don't want to see them not get talked about because everybody keeps whining about the offense, and rightfully so. I'm not getting on anybody that's frustrated with the offense. I am too. I just don't want to see Jacob deGrom, Tyler Malley, Nathan Eovaldi not talked about when they're having outstanding seasons, Cy Young worthy seasons, honestly. And look, Jacob deGrom, when he pitched for the Mets and he got little run support, he still ended up winning a Cy Young. The individual achievements can definitely still be reached regardless of the Rangers' records. I think less and less people are valuing the win stat for pitchers. It's a lot of ERA and a lot of the other advanced stats for sure. So I think that these guys definitely can still be in play for those season awards, but I don't want to see the performances game to game get lost because of this offense. And unfortunately, that's where we're at right now. People are going to gravitate more towards the futility of the offense than the brilliance of Nathan Eovaldi. And Nathan Eovaldi, 4-3, 160 ERA, 71 Ks in 67 innings pitched, a .79 whip. 0.79 whip, man. This dude allows less than a base runner an inning at this point. I think that's the best whip in baseball. I'm going to look that up real quick. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Let me go MLB pitching stats and see what I can pull up. I feel like that's the best whip in baseball right now. Let me see. Yep. Nathan Eovaldi, best whip in baseball. He does not have the best average against. By the way, the best average against in baseball, Carlos Rodon, the starter for the Yankees today. He has the lowest batting average against in Major League Baseball, 161. So if you're looking for a little bit of a silver lining, you're looking for, I don't like to call it excuses, but you're looking for a bright side, a little glass half full perspective. We faced the dude today that is leading the league in opponent batting average against. Carlos Rodon, 161. Nate Eovaldi, by the way, top 3, 183 average against Nate Eovaldi. And Nate Eovaldi, another great thing about him is he is the only pitcher this year where batters have under a 200 batting average on 3 of Nate Eovaldi's pitches. So Nate Eovaldi has 3 pitches where opponents are batting below 200 against those pitches. I know splitter. I know curveball was another one. I'm not sure what the other one was off the top of my head. I'm blanking on it. If you watch the broadcast today, they showed it, but I'm blanking on what the third pitch is. I don't know if it was his fastball, but splitter and curveball were absolutely 2 of the 3. And again, hitters batting below 200 against those pitches. So Nate Eovaldi leading the league right now in WHIP, and he's up there when it comes to ERA as well. Right now, he's number 5 in the league in ERA. Tyler Mahle, 1.47, right ahead of him. And then you've got a couple of other guys in front. Max Fried, he got hit around a little bit the other day. He's up to 129. Max Fried was almost below 1 for his ERA. There's just something crazy. Senga for the Mets, he's up there. Right now, Jacob deGrom is rounding out the top 10 with a 2.33 ERA. The Rangers have 3 pitchers in the top 10. And what's crazy, they also have the lowest starting pitching ERA in the American League. Lowest starting pitching ERA in the American League, y'all. That's what our rotation is at right now. And we somehow have a losing record. Seriously, y'all, you cannot make this up. You can't make it up. Starting pitching, man, it's got, I think it was a 2.83 ERA. I'm going to check this out real quick. I'm looking up a bunch of different stats right now, so don't mind me if I'm a little bit distracted. Let me see if I can pull it out here. Yeah, so Mets are up there at number 1. And maybe the stats are going to update a little bit and things will change. So we might need to check on this a little bit later on. But yeah, look, Rangers are right there at number 2. Pretty wild. Pretty wild how good this rotation has been. And then you look at the record and you look at some of these games. It's bad. I think the Rangers, they were saying, have 23 or 24 games where they have scored 2 runs or less. And I forget how many shutouts this has been. It's a lot. It's an insane amount for this short into the season. I think it's 24 games where the Rangers have scored 2 or less. And then you go up to like 3 or less, and it's still up there pretty high too. Crazy. You're really left speechless at some point. Sorry. Fly buzzing around here. So if you see me just randomly hitting the air, you know what's going on. Really, really at a loss for words at some point. I don't know how much you can really do right now with the Rangers, and what their offense is currently like and assembled as. You've got very, very limited options. You've got Adolis Garcia, who's maybe the most expendable, I think, in the lineup. In terms of guys that are really, really struggling, Adolis Garcia is probably the one that's up there the most. But beyond that, you've got a Marcus Semien contract that is not going to be super, super easy to get rid of. You've also got, other guys as well that are controllable that are struggling, but you're not really going to be doing anything with. I mean, Josh Smith is going through some struggles right now. You're not going to be doing anything with Josh Smith. You want him to continue to be a leader. And then also, you've got other guys like, for example, Jake Berger, very controllable. He's on the upswing, though. it feels like he's doing a lot better right now. And so I would say this: what are you going to do beyond wait for the trade deadline? JD Martinez, he's sitting out there in free agency, but at this point, I don't think anybody is really interested in going and getting an aging guy like JD. The only other thing you could really do is the youth movement thing, where you do start maybe sitting down, benching some players. Adolis Garcia, like I said, you could maybe try and trade or DFA him. I think the options are just continuing to get more and more limited. So I don't know what the best course is at this point beyond riding it out, unless you really want to blow up the offense a little bit and start the youth movement, which I don't know. You have to be, here's the thing with starting the youth movement. You have to be so sure that it's actually going to work out. That's my thing. You got to be so sure that those guys are going to come up and hit. Some people are kind of at that frustrated point where let's just get them up. Let's just bring them up. If they come up and flop and you start the clock and you're not really going anywhere this year, I don't know how valuable it is to do that. You want to have guys like Osuna, guys like Walcott, as long as you possibly can in terms of years of control. So I just feel like if you have to bring those guys up, you have got to be as almost sure as you possibly can that they are going to produce at this level. And I don't know if that's where it's at right now. I do not know if Osuna, Walcott are going to be able to come up and make that instant impact. I guess you never know until you try, but that would be my hesitation. And obviously the front office, the coaching staff, the scouts, all that, they're going to be able to make that decision better than you and I can. But that is my fear if you rush these guys up to the big leagues. If they struggle, did you disrupt their progression, first of all? And then did you waste years of service? Did you start the clock too soon in a year where you weren't going anywhere necessarily, at least offensively? I feel very hesitant to start the youth movement. I do think that there's something to be said about sitting down some players. Marcus Semien, Adolis Garcia. We talked about Marcus Semien multiple times over the past week. I don't think you're doing a whole lot with Marcus Semien beyond maybe giving him a couple of games off here and there, maybe letting him sit down for a series. You could do that, but the contract is just too much. Nobody is going to claim him on waivers if you DFA him. Nobody's going to want to trade for the Marcus Semien contract. Marcus Semien's making $25 million a year. There's very, very limited options, y'all. Very, very limited. Caden, you got the stat, though. 6 shutouts. And we had 10 last year. And it's only May. Aiden, thanks for hanging out. Hey, appreciate you. Thank you so much if you're still hanging out watching the show. Keep going. Miguel, possibly. But again, they got to make that call as an organization. You and I can look at stats all day long. I got to be real. I'm not watching every AA Frisco game. I'm not watching every AAA Round Rock game. I don't watch these guys day in and day out. I check box scores, and you rely on reporting and you rely on, what you're seeing in the highlights as best you can. But I don't know how ready these guys really are for the bigs or not. And you're at a point with some of them where they're really, really young, really green. There's really no need to rush. And I think at this point, you're hoping that some of these guys will figure it out, for lack of a better expression. It's just not happening. I think at minimum, the move for Adolis down in the order to 7th definitely needed to happen. I think Marcus Semien's next. Some of you guys I know are asking why Semi's still hitting 5th over and over again. We've talked about this. It's a confidence thing. You have heard Bochy basically say in so many words, he does not want to ruin confidence. It's kind of a mental game at this point. And it feels like the opinion is moving Marcus Semien down is going to send him even more into a downward spiral. And that's Bruce Bochy making the call. We don't have to like it, but that's the reason that we're getting. So clearly there's an idea here. Clearly there's a sentiment that you move Marcus Semien down, it's only going to get worse. Alan, I don't know if we're going to be able to find that that deal, and I don't know where you would even start. Another star that's actually, at Simeon's level of performance, because that's the thing, right? Simeon right now has a big contract, but he's not performing. It's not even like he's got a big contract and he's playing mediocre. He's got a huge contract and he's not playing great at all. In fact, he's one of the worst offensive players in all of Major League Baseball that actually qualify. We're talking stats here. I'm not just going off the cuff. Marcus Semien, among qualified hitters, one of the worst in Major League Baseball. And look, he did have some good swings today. I will agree with you there, Brad. I think he definitely did have some good hacks today. It's just consistency, right? That's all it is. It's consistency. And at this point, it's not happening enough. We get one nice hit from him here, and then we get a couple 0 for 4s there. It's never consistent. And that is what we need with all these guys. You're having one good game. I think Jake Berger, for example, is on the upswing. But, Jake Berger today, he gets moved up to 4, which I wanted for the past 3-4 games. And he goes 0 for today. Jonah Heim, he's been pretty solid. He goes 0 for today with 2 Ks. Higgy had 2 Ks. Duran had 2 Ks. By the way, let me just say on Duran, and I'm going to try and start looking at y'all's comments a little bit more here. I think we're good on YouTube, but TikTok, I'm definitely going to make sure I get to all y'all's comments. Duran, I just feel like they made just such a huge mistake bringing him up. And I know that depth is probably the big reason he is up. But you had Ezekiel Duran raking in AAA. Dude had like a 350 average, felt like he was hitting a home run every other night. And I just feel like they really botched the Zeke Duran potential trade situation. You had an opportunity to keep Zeke Duran in AAA, let him rake, let the value continue to get higher and higher, and then you can trade him at the deadline, and at least you can point to, hey, he's hitting 325 in AAA. He's hitting 340 in AAA. And I think that the value would have been higher had you just left him there. Instead, you bring him up, you call him up. He's hitting 129 right now, had 2 strikeouts today. Josh Smith came on to pinch hit for him late in the game in a spot where base hit would have tied things. Josh did not come through, ended up striking out. But Zeke Duran, 0 for 2 with 2 Ks. I would have loved for them to have just left him in AAA, let the trade value get higher, and then at the deadline, send him. There is no path for Ezekiel Duran to have consistent playing time on this club. And so for that reason, I'm trading him, and I would have left him in AAA to keep the value high. I feel like so many teams are going to look at Zeke Duran now, whereas you might have been thinking about him as this guy could come up and be a 6 or 7 hole hitter. He's hitting 350 in AAA. Now, all these teams are getting a look at him, what he's doing at the big league level over the next couple of months. He's not playing. When he is playing, he's not hitting well. And today, not covering the bag on that one hit earlier on in the game that ended up leading to the runner, I think, advancing to third. Zeke Duran not even doing it in the field mentally. So you're not 100 when it comes to the mental side. You're not 100 when it comes to the hitting side. The fielding side was kind of supposed to be one of his stronger suits. He's got a cannon of an arm. I just feel like they botched the whole entire Zeke Duran thing. Yeah, Rico, I'm with you. The stock's dropping. That's why I really felt they needed to hide him in AAA. Talking about Zeke Duran right now, who played shortstop today, went 0 for 2 with 2 Ks. Natalie, that is the positive. Stars get a win last night. Absolutely. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you. Let me get the TikTok comments here. Need to send Semien down to AAA to work on mechanics. You can't. You can't send him to AAA, guys. I mean, I'm not. Look, I know there's some people that are a lot harsher. I understand we all don't get how it works. We've all got lives and a lot going on. So, look, I'm never going to be that guy like, why don't you know what's going on, right? But basically what I feel with Semien is you're not going to have an opportunity for him to go to AAA because he is a vet that can reject the assignment, right? He can straight up reject the assignment to AAA and become a free agent. So essentially what happens is he's going to go play for another team for league minimum. The Rangers will be off the hook for what, $800,000? And then you're going to be paying him the rest of the 25 mil. So I really don't understand the people that continue to say that you should send him to AAA. I mean, I know maybe there's just not an awareness of what they can and can't do, but you can't send Marcus Semien to AAA. I do think you could send Adolis Garcia to AAA. Maybe. He might be at that spot. I think it's like a few years of experience in the big leagues. You can start rejecting it. I'll look it up to be sure. If y'all know, let me know. But I think even Adolis Garcia could probably reject that. So I'll see if I can find out the exact rule, guys. I don't know everything off the top of my head. I tried to, but I don't. So we'll see. It says players with more than 3 years of MLB service time may reject the outright assignment in favor of free agency in lieu of the assignment. So that's if they DFA. If the player clears unconditional waivers, he's unconditionally released. There you go. I don't know. Maybe you could do it with Dolly, but I don't think that that's an option either with him. So it's really DFAing. And you don't want to DFA Semien. He's going to clear waivers. You're still going to be on the hook for his salary because no team is going to claim him. And then he's going to sign with somebody in free agency for league minimum and probably just going to hit 350 just out of spite for you dumping him. That's how it's going to go. Everybody goes somewhere else after they're with the Rangers, and it feels like they become good. Maybe it won't happen with Adolis Garcia, but it feels that way. It sure does. Oh, my goodness. Let me get to more of y'all's comments. Luke Jackson, the bullpen, been really, really disappointing. Really disappointing. Luke Jackson in the bullpen, I think that you've seen a little bit of a dip. There was a very, very hot start for the pen, and now they are kind of getting a little bit back to the mean. I think that they're a little bit taxed as well. I think you've got to throw them that bone, right? You've got the bullpen pitching in so many games. The Rangers can't win games, 6-1 or whatever, 8-3. It's always got to be a 1, 2, or 3-run victory. And so you've got a situation where you've got a bullpen that's probably overworked at this point. Looks like Adolis Garcia does have one option remaining. So I guess you could send him down. One option remaining for Adolis Garcia. So we'll see what happens. I don't think they're going to do it. Maybe they will. But Fantrax says Adolis Garcia has one MILB option remaining. He does have 4 years of service time, though, so we'll see how it all plays out. But maybe they do send Adolis Garcia down to AAA. Cristobal, I don't know if we're selling yet. I would say no, just because you can't waste Jacob deGrom and Nathan Eovaldi and Tyler Mahle in the seasons they're having. I just don't think CY is going to sit around and waste any time. I don't think you're going to see him throw in the towel on this season. I'm not saying he's going to go out and make some huge, flashy move that's going to make it all better. I just don't think he's going to sit back and concede the season. So all of y'all that are hoping that we sell, I mean, look, we're probably, if we're in a bad spot, going to sell somebody. I mean, I would think some of the one-year contract guys for sure, but I don't know. Let's see. Anderson down to AAA. I mean, I don't know. Anderson at this point down to AAA. I think that what I would probably say is if you can send these guys down without recourse, maybe. But I personally am not thinking that there's a whole lot of options. Yeah, I don't know, y'all. I don't know. We keep going. Rangers going to win the division? Maybe. I mean, it's anybody's division right now. Maybe. Rangers are scoring less than the Stars. Shane, yes, they are. That's sad. Very, very sad. By the way, Anderson, you were talking about Armstrong, right, Mikey? Talking about Armstrong? Anderson. Armstrong. Right? All right. I don't know what Armstrong's got in terms of time left over. Armstrong, I think, is a guy that is probably going to be in that area where you're either going to DFA him or you're going to just ride it out. Like, I don't think Armstrong is going to go to AAA. I think they're either going to have him pitch or they're just going to DFA. Andrew, I'm with you. I'm not giving up on the season. Wesley, what's good, man? When does Walcott get called up? I don't think anytime soon. I do think there's a little bit of a sentiment that, hey, when Corey Seager comes back, it's going to look better. And I do agree with that. I do think that when Corey Seager's back, the offense is going to pick up. What I think is going to happen, and I don't want to be right, but I think the Rangers will have a decent series against the White Sox. I think then they'll come back home and they play after that. I believe. Who are we talking about that the Rangers have next? It's been a long day, y'all. I know we have the Rays mixed in there. That's like in a week and a half. Jays are next, and then the Cardinals. That's right, Luke. Thank you. Jays and Cardinals are upcoming. You play the Jays, you play the Cardinals. I feel like we probably fall back down to earth. Like, it's going to look good for a weekend, and then we're going to get back to playing Jays, Cardinals, good teams. Cardinals are having a great year right now. And then we're going to be right back to here to square one. So I personally think when Siegs gets back, it's going to start looking a little bit better. It is definitely a thing. I think one guy can make a fairly large difference in the lineup. And look, the Rangers really, when you look at some of these games in New York, they're one big swing away from winning the game. And if Corey Seager comes up in a moment like that, maybe we do get one win here. It's hard to say. Maybe we do get a dub with Corey Seager in the lineup all 3 games. I don't think that we're necessarily a Corey Seager away from being competitive in terms of a World Series, but I absolutely think that Corey Seager comes back and makes a difference. But I still say you add a bat at the deadline and you also add a bullpen piece. Seager, by the way, I saw the question, when do I think Seager comes back? Seager is still 7 to 10 days away, according to Bruce Bochy and Evan Grant. Still 7 to 10 days away. So Seager was with the team, and then I was informed he left the team, and then he's seeking a second opinion on what's going on. And what they're really focused on is a total recovery, not rushing him back at all, a total recovery of the hamstring strain, and then also prevention. What can they be doing differently to prevent this from happening again? I think that's where they're at right now. So we'll see. But I think that the plan is if I had to guess, he's going to miss the next 3 series. I don't think he's going to be back for the Rays series. I don't think he's going to be back for the Cardinals series. I don't think he's going to be back for the Jays series. I think he's probably going to be missing the next 3 series, and then he'll be back. Evan Carter is a 3-week. So Evan Carter went on the IL, 4 or 5 days ago. So probably another 2.5 weeks on Evan Carter, if I had to guess. Probably another 2.5 weeks. We'll see what happens. But I think that's where we're at right now. 2.5 weeks on EC. And look, Evan Carter, he was doing all right. I think Evan Carter, it feels right because of what happened in 2023. It feels right. I don't know if Evan Carter is a huge, huge impact in the lineup or not. I don't know that I personally feel like Evan Carter is going to come back and it's all going to be fixed either. It'll be nice to see him in the lineup, but in terms of like real production, I don't know. Nate, what's good? If you're still hanging out, by the way, appreciate you. I saw a couple of comments on Instagram. Appreciate you guys. Yeah, look, the team's biggest issues right now are offense and bullpen. And so that's what you got to prioritize at the deadline. There's really limited options right now. We can kind of be tempted by the prospect of guys like Teodo and guys like Walcott and Osuna coming up. The reality is it's not money in the bank that those guys come up and kill it either. But I won't be shocked if they start getting a little radical. I won't be shocked if they start getting a little radical, man, really. I think that they're going to have to do that if they want to salvage this season and make the playoffs. I don't think you can continue to just hope that this team figures it out and swings their way back to competitive levels. I think you've got to do something to shake this up, because right now, what you've got going on, it's not working. Bochy got to put me in the lineup. Diego, look, I mean, it hurts, but some of us could be doing just about what some of these Rangers players are doing. Granted, we wouldn't be making very much contact, but we could be doing what some of these Rangers players are doing up there. Seriously. Jimmy, appreciate it. Appreciate the follow, man. Yep. What else y'all got? I got a couple other things. I'll try and continue to take comments and questions along the way. Curtis, boo. Enjoy the 3-game sweep, man. Rangers bats were terrible. Terrible. Woo. I am going to be hopeful that things turn around against the White Sox, y'all. I mean, look, just like the Rocky series, I'm going to say 2 out of 3. I would love 3 out of 3. It feels like 3 out of 3 needs to happen with how you lost all 3 games in New York, but I'll take a series win. I'm not going to be too greedy. They need to sweep, but I will take a series win. Let me get a shot against DeGrom and Evo. It wouldn't be very much. We would look pretty ugly. DeGrom and Evo straight up nasty, man. I am with this comment. The only way is up from here. I mean, this feels like basement level right now. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to speak anything bad into existence. It feels like it could get a little bit worse, actually. It could get a little bit worse, but the only way out is through. There's not a lot that they can really go out and get right now, y'all. It sucks, but that is what it is. They just can't go out and get anything right now. No teams are really willing to trade with you unless you're overpaying them to trade you the player that you want. They just don't have a lot of options. It sucks, but that's the way that it is. Rangers have more losses than the Angels. Angels have won 7 straight. Oh, my goodness. It hurts reading things like that. It just does. Gio, I appreciate the stat. It does tell you exactly where the Rangers are at right now in their season. Not in a good place. Yeah, Shane, I'm with you. I saw that there's some teams around the division. The Astros, they lost. They've been losing in their series against the Rays, so at least we got that. Joshua, absolutely. I don't think personally I, by any means, am throwing in the towel on the season. I think that you definitely are not in an awesome place right now, but there's a lot of baseball left to be played. You're 1 game under 500. A lot can happen over the course of the next 100 and 11 games, 12 games, whatever's left. A lot can happen. JK, I'm with you. I don't know if the bats are going to come around, Andrew. I just think that some of these guys are regressing and it's just not fixable. I don't think you're going to get some of these guys back to 2023 level. We had a whole season sample size. Some of these guys, now we're in 2025 and we're still doing the same thing. I don't see all these guys making some big turnaround middle of the season. Yeah, I hope the bats wake up eventually, Chris. I really do. The Astros definitely, I don't think that they have a superior roster. They've got some good players, don't get me wrong, but you traded away Kyle Tucker. You lost Bregman. I can't say that the Astros have a better roster. Isaac Paredes, despite the bomb that he hits against us on Sunday, I think he's a nice player. I don't think he necessarily replaces Bregman and what you lost with Kyle Tucker. I know they've got Christian Walker that they added, and he had a little bit of noise in that series as well, but I don't think that Walker and Paredes replace the production of Tucker and Bregman. And the pitching to me is okay. You've got Hunter Brown killing it. You've got some other guys, Blanco, Valdez, that are solid, but you don't have the pitching that the Rangers do. I think you can say the Astros have a better offense right now. That's not really hard to achieve. Most teams in baseball have a better offense than the Rangers right now. But the bats, I think a few wake up. I don't think all of them do. I agree. Seager does need to get back ASAP. Creed music, maybe maybe that's what's it. Maybe they're not playing enough Creed in the locker room this year. That might be the problem. They're not playing enough Creed in the locker room right now. Absolutely. He does. Simi does look lost right now. Do Simi and Adolis ever fix it? I'm not convinced that they do. I don't necessarily think they stay this bad forever, but do I think that they make it back to 2023 levels? I would probably say no. If you were asking me to put real money on it right now, is Marcus Semien going to bounce back and have the MVP type season that he's had? Before 2023, it was like 3 of the last 6 years. Like Marcus Semien, man, he finished top 3 in MVP like every other year for 6 years straight. It was crazy. The fall off of Marcus Semien, it's something else. It really is. I do like Young hitting higher in the order. I do like Jake Berger moving up the cleanup, even though it didn't work out for today. Those are positives. Absolutely, those are positives. Yeah, the approach seems awful. I think one thing that, I don't want to rub salt in the wound, and occasionally I do like to give myself a pat on the back, but, did we not try and tell everybody that Donnie Ecker wasn't the problem? We tried to tell y'all. Donnie Ecker was not the problem. The problem is you've got players that are aging and regressing, and there's not going to be a hitting instructor that magically comes along and unlocks all these guys. Donnie Ecker wasn't the issue. Don't give me the BS that the approaches are looking better, even though the results aren't there. They don't look better. So look, I'm not saying Brett Boone is trash. In fact, I think you really can't judge either coach, Boone or Ecker, on what this roster as currently assembled is like right now. I think that you've got some guys that are aging, regressing, and are not going to get back to those elite levels. Josh, I don't think so. I mean, I would be really interested to see what the average was with Ecker and what the average is with Boone, but it's not great. Boone has had a couple of nice moments. I think all of us remember his first game when we scored 6 runs, and it was like, whoa, offensive outburst. And then since then, it's kind of been up and down. It's really been up and down. Like, I'm not saying Boone's bad. I actually like Boone and his energy, but we said it when Donnie Ecker got fired. It's not going to be that big of a deal. This team is not magically going to be fixed just because we got a new coach. I would absolutely love to be wrong, but I think what's going to help is adding in new players, getting players at the trade deadline, adding in bats. I don't think that you're magically going to see Adolis Garcia, Marcus Semien turn it around. I do think that Adolis is going to be a trade candidate. I think there will be some bites on Adolis, some people thinking that they can fix him, they can retweak something, and maybe they will. I do think teams will be interested in Adolis if you wanted to go that route. Adolis is somebody that's a little bit more expendable. You're going to be able to get rid of him a little bit easier than a Marcus Semien, for example. Sam, what's good, man? Yeah, look, it is weird. We're in a weird time in Rangers baseball right now where the pitching is better than the hitting. All of the Rangers fans that kind of grew up in what I'll call my era, late 90s, early 2000s. That was when I was a kid watching Rangers baseball. And then, as I was growing into adulthood, I got some of those 2010, 2011 teams under my belt as well. But look, I grew up on the late 90s Rangers, the Rusty Greer, Wangon, Pudge, Palmero, all those dudes, John Wetland and, Kenny Rogers, those kinds of guys. And then, of course, the early 2000s when we had a lot of great hitters, Teixeira, Blaylock, Young, a lot of young, great hitters, but the pitching was terrible. Right? The pitching was horrible. Now we're literally in the exact opposite. I don't know what's more frustrating. This is actually a good question for the chat. What's more frustrating, not being able to score any runs or not being able to stop anybody? I feel like it's not scoring runs. I feel like that's what it is for me, just off the cuff reaction. I feel like it's more frustrating watching a team that just can't score any runs, because at least you were entertained by the offensive production of those early 2000s teams. I think not scoring runs has got to be worse. I mean, look, it sucked with the early 2000s clubs because you knew when they got out to a 4-0 lead that it probably wasn't going to hold, right? That would be like quintessential early 2000s Rangers. They get out to like a 4-5-0 lead in one of the early innings, and you're just sitting there saying to yourself, yeah, I don't think this is going to last very long. And sure enough, the starting pitcher would give up 3 runs, and the next inning give up another 2, and quickly we're down 5-4 or 6-4. Right? I mean, it would definitely, I think, be a little bit more entertaining and bearable watching the offense and then having bad pitching versus what we got right now. Keep going. There is something about bombs. I'll say not scoring is a lot more frustrating for me. Not scoring. I mean, everybody loves watching a pitcher deal. It's a lot more fun watching teams score runs. It just is. Siegs to first, Walcott to shortstop. I don't think so. I think Jake Berger is going to be the guy. They traded for him. He's controllable. He's coming around a little bit. I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe eventually, but I don't think that's happening this season. Thanks for hanging out, by the way, all y'all. And I appreciate so much all the comments. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the people that have shared. I've seen a couple people that have followed. You guys are awesome. On YouTube as well. Daniel, what's good, man? Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you. A lot of y'all have been supporting the show for a long, long time. Means a ton. I'm definitely excited about the direction of the channel. We got a lot of good stuff happening. Started out a couple of years ago, and you know what? Over the course of 2 years, we've gotten a little bit bigger every year, and a lot of that is thanks to you guys, 100%. Shane, having Michael Young back would be phenomenal. Another thing that I'm doing, if you love the channel, you love what I'm doing, you love the content and what's coming out, the camaraderie, the community that we're building here, I have implemented just a really small way that you can give back if you would be so obliged to do so. If you subscribe, which you can do by hitting that subscribe button right next to the chat in TikTok and on YouTube, I'll put the link in the chat as well for you guys. It's $2.99, and here's what it gets you. Priority comments and replies, especially as the show gets bigger and bigger. And it also gives you exclusive access to our private Discord chat, which is open 24/7. We definitely have had a blast on it over the past couple of weeks. We've added a couple of new people almost every day, it seems. So it's been a lot of fun. Totally optional. I know that $2.99 is $2.99. But I would appreciate you considering. It's a little way that you can support me and everything that I'm doing here at Right On Rangers. Tons of what we do is still always going to be free. The lives, the reels that we put out. I'm always going to be going back and forth with y'all in the chat as well. But if you're looking for a way to support the channel just a little bit more, hit that subscribe button right next to the chat. And if you're on YouTube or one of the others, I dropped that link into the comments. Copy and paste it into Chrome, Safari, browser of your choice, and you should be able to get set up pretty easily. And then I'll get you that Discord link, and you'll be in. There we go, y'all. Thank you. I appreciate all y'all hanging. Let me see here. More on comments. What happened to Bombi? Look, Adolis Garcia, I think, had an outstanding 2023, and we're always just going to compare what he is now to 2023, and I just don't think that is going to ever happen. I don't think he's going to repeat that run. It was history, right? That's how you got to think about it. What he did was historical. It's not like he doesn't have the potential to be a good player, but what he did was so historical and just had never been done before. Now you have this expectation. And I'm not saying that it was a fluke. I'm not saying that he can't get back to some semblance of that, but I just don't think he's going to get back to the 2023 level. And I think we've got to be okay with that. I'd love to see him just get somewhere in between where you are right now in the 2023 level. Just meet in the middle, please. But that's what I think. Maybe you can call it an outlier, the 2023 year. I think Dolly has talent. I think he has ability, 100%. But he's got to be more disciplined and balanced up at the plate. That's a big place to start. Keep going. Yeah, Joshua, that is how I feel. The entire lineup in 2023 had the best years of their career. It really did. Had the best years of their career in 2023. And it's just hard to do anything else after that in terms of production when you literally max it out at almost every position. I mean, Jonah Heim was an all-star starter. Josh Young was an all-star starter. Corey Seager, Marcus Sim. We had like a ton of all-star starters. In 2023, half of the AL starting lineup was Rangers. It's crazy. And so you're just in a situation now where you had all those guys have the year of their lives. And thank you to them, right? We're not taking that for granted. Thank you to all those guys for giving us the year of our lives, the baseball year of our lives in 2023. We will always be grateful for all those guys on that roster that gave us an incredible run that we'll never forget. But as you move forward, 2024, 2025, it's just so easy. It's too easy to make the comp and just wish that these guys could get back to that 2023 level. And it just might not ever happen. And I think we have to be okay with that. Understand, hey, these guys had career years in 23. You're probably not going to see them return to that. And maybe you're okay with where they're at, or maybe you move on. And that is why it's a business and why there's tough decisions to be made sometimes. I don't think we're going to trade DeGrom if we become sellers. With DeGrom, when you have him healthy, you have a chance to win a World Series. Same thing with Eovaldi. They're not going to be sellers very easily. It would have to be something catastrophic, I think, for them to be sellers. I really do. Binky, appreciate the follow. Yeah, DeGrom is awesome. DeGrom's awesome. I'm with you 100% on that. Hey, Manuel, what's good, man? Look, Seager is going to make a difference. 100% Seager is going to make a difference. I believe that with all my heart. I don't know how big of a difference it's going to be. I do think he makes a difference. But they're not going to be trading like DeGrom or Evo. You've got DeGrom and Evo next 2 years. It's awesome. It really is. You've got DeGrom and Evo over the next couple of seasons. What's DeGrom's contract like? Is he this? I think he's lined up with Evo, if I'm not mistaken. I'll try and look up Jacob DeGrom's contract real quick on Spotrac and see what we can figure out. So he's a free agent in 2029, unrestricted, and the club has an option on him in 2028. So we've got all of 26, all of 27, a club option in 28, and 2029, he can become an unrestricted free agent. Granted, in 2029, Jacob DeGrom is going to be 41 years old. So I don't think that we'll probably be re-upping at that point. I think Jacob DeGrom is going to retire as a Texas Ranger. I do think, though, you've got him pretty much lined up with Evo, right? Evo is 25, 26, 27. DeGrom could get the club option in 2028, but you've got Evo and DeGrom lined up 3 more years. So looking at the contracts right now, I know that CY was thinking about that. I got them on the same timetable, my 2 aces, DeGrom and Evo. And I think that as long as they have those 2 guys 1-2, and they're actually pitching well, which I think that's an understatement right now, you're not going to see the Rangers really want to sell. You're not going to see them be sellers here. Manuel, I'm with you, man. We got to sell Duran and some of these other guys that have no path to playing time anyways, but would help to get you some bullpen pieces. Like, I think you could trade Zeke Duran and some prospects either for a bat or for a relief pitcher, for a high-end back of the bullpen shut-down reliever. I think you could. I do think that Duran and Garcia are probably the two likeliest trade options at this point. If you're talking about major league talent, could you get maybe some teams to bite on Foscue or Krim? Possibly. I think at this point, you've got to hide as many of those guys in AAA as you can, though. Like, if Foscue's doing well in AAA, keep him there. I wish that they would have Duran left in AAA. I wish he wouldn't have come up to the big leagues. His value is dropping by not performing at the major league level. Bobby B, appreciate the follow. I wouldn't mind Bo Bichette, but what's the fit on Bo, right? Bo is playing shortstop. I mean, there's not a great fit for Bo Bichette, but at the same time, I think you kind of say to yourself, like, let's make the fit work later. Just get that bat in the lineup. And right now, Bo Bichette, let's see if we can figure this out. Bo Bichette is hitting 289. Not bad, but it's just tough. Like, again, where are you going to fit him? Maybe Marcus Semien. If you can somehow work that out, maybe Marcus Semien is a guy that gets replaced by Bo Bichette. But again, a lot's going to have to happen for that to work. I think that they really need to go get a prime DH guy. Think about, Marcell Ozuna. But the Braves are doing better after a really bad start. You just don't know who's going to be available. A big bat would be huge, Macklin. I'm with you on that. I think that they will keep Josh Smith. I really do think that they will. Bo was born in, I think, Florida, if I'm not mistaken. And I think he went to high school in Florida too. So I don't think Bo's a Texas guy. Pretty sure. Yeah, I looked it up right now. He went to Lakewood in St. Petersburg, Florida. Born in Orlando. So he's a Florida boy. Yeah, Bo would be fine with me. I think you're just going to have to figure out the fit later. He might have to play outfield a little bit. He might have to DH, maybe play some second, play some short. Now it's going to be him and Josh Smith moving around everywhere. I think you can keep Josh Smith, maybe trade Adolis, maybe trade Duran, and then some prospects. And I think there's a lot you can make work. You could trade John Gray. You've got a lot of depth at starting pitcher. You could trade John Gray's $13 million salary. I think that's an option as well. Marlins are trading Sandy to the Yankees. Did that just go live? Or are you just saying you think that's what's going to happen? Isn't Sandy having a rough year for Miami right now? That's what I saw, at least the last time I looked at his numbers. Yeah, he's got an 8 ERA. Woof, what happened to Sandy Alcantara, man? Goodness. He just had a 5-inning, 4 earned run start against the Rays. That brought the ERA down under 8. Woof. Yeah, I think, Flash, I think that is kind of the plan. That feels like a good blueprint, brother. Like Duran, Garcia, Gray. I think you could trade those 3 guys and still be fully operational. Fully operational at this point with an opportunity to make the playoffs. I don't think losing any of those 3 guys, Duran, Garcia, or Gray, is going to cost you a World Series. John Gray, who I love, by the way, but he's making a good deal of money. You've got plenty of depth at pitcher. I know there might be some arguments. Send him to the bullpen. I mean, I think that's what you're going to have to do already. But if you want to free up a little bit of salary to go get a bigger player, I think John Gray's got to be number 1 on the list that you go and get rid of. The Rangers don't want to go over the luxury tax, right? And so if you don't want to go over the luxury tax and getting one of these players that is making double-digit millions on an annual basis, you got to get rid of Gray. You got to get rid of him. We'll see what happens. Trade Seager. Ultra Modern, are you serious? I don't think that's going to sit well. I don't think a lot of people want to see Corey Seager get traded, man. I think I'm gonna have to pump the brakes on that one, my friend. Trading Corey Seager, that feels like a little bit of a heavy reaction from the game today. I don't think you trade Corey. I think you do try and trade the guys that we just said: Duran, Gray, Garcia. I think some people would take Garcia. Marcus Simeon, I think, is going to be tough to trade because of the contract. But if you could get somebody to take him, sure. Yeah, I think Seager has got to be a guy that you keep around, ultra-modern. We might have to agree to disagree on that one. I hear what you're saying. The comment is basically he's injury prone, right? And that is frustrating about Seager. It's frustrating. He's injury prone. But in my mind, you're going to get 120 to 125 out of him every year. And as long as he's good for the postseason, I think that the Rangers will take that. I don't think if Corey Seager, like last year, y'all, I don't think if Corey Seager plays 150 games, the Rangers do a whole lot better. They weren't, Corey Seager having like this mega crazy stat year from making the playoffs. I don't even think if Corey played 150 games last year that it would have worked out for us to make some run. We were just that bad. So I kind of feel the same way here. 120, 125 in the postseason, you'll take that. Corey playing 150 plus isn't going to make a huge difference. That's just my opinion. We keep going. Appreciate all y'all hanging out. Thank you so much. We've been going a little bit over an hour here on the show, a little bit over an hour at this point. We're trying to talk through this ugly game that we witnessed earlier today. Haggerty continues to impress me. He's got an 829 OPS. I think you got to find ways to keep Haggerty around. I'd much rather have Haggerty in the lineup than Adolis Garcia at this point. Haggerty, 829 OPS. I feel like they've got to find a way. Look, it's who they have, right? I'm not saying I love Sam Haggerty, but I am saying I feel like they've got to find a way to keep Haggerty around in the lineup and get him ABs. Angela, appreciate the follow, by the way. Thank you so much. You look at other guys. Wyatt Langford taking 2 walks today. Langford's average, not looking super pretty right now. The OPS is at 800, so I would say it's slightly above average there. And then you look at Marcus Simeon. He did have a hit today. Berger went 0 for after a big game last night, hitting 2 bombs. Jonah Heim 0 for, Dolly 0 for 3, Higgy 0 for 2 with 2 Ks. Jock Peterson did have an infield single, I believe. And then you had Zeke Duran striking out twice as well. Milner came in and did wonderfully. His ERA is 2.49. Do you give Hobie Milner a shot at closing? I really didn't love that idea when it got presented to me about a week ago. Do you give Hobie a shot at the closer role at this point? 2.49 ERA? I don't know. Like, the options are starting to get limited. But Armstrong pitched well. He's at 4.58 in terms of his ERA. Nate Eovaldi got to be the player of the game for Texas. Lowered his ERA to 1.60, top 3 in the league. Beautiful. Or top 5 in the league, excuse me. And we've got Tyler Mahle, top 3 ERA in the league, pitching tomorrow against the White Sox. Hopefully we can win, man. We can win some ball games in Chicago. That's going to get real interesting if we cannot win games against the White Sox. The news on Carter, it was a few weeks. And so I think we're at about the 2 to 2.5 week mark since they announced Evan Carter was going to miss a few weeks. I think that's where we're at right now. I do think that Evan Carter, Gio, and Corey Seager is going to make a difference. It at least feels better to have Evan Carter and Corey Seager in the lineup. I think Corey legitimately makes a difference. Look, Evan Carter, I think it does make a difference. I don't know how big. I feel a lot better about getting Seager back than I do Carter. That's for sure. Sebastian, keeping my eye on it, but not watching it right now. Rangers, I wouldn't even say look good right now, GP. I would say they don't look great except for the pitching. I do think the only thing with the Rangers is they've pretty much hung with every team that they've played in Major League Baseball. The worst loss was against the Reds. Every other time we're playing the Dodgers or the Yankees, It's really pretty close games. So that's the one solace I take. It's not like any team is really using us to mop the floor. We're playing tight ball games pretty much with every good team that we played. I would love to see that happen, Texas Repo, but the Rangers, of course. But look, the Mariners, they're having a good little run right now. They really are. But yes, I do hope that the AL West can continue to be more competitive. Carlos, that's the plan. So far, so good on healthy DeGrom. So far, so good. You got to remember, these are the youngins besides Jock, senior citizen. Triple A. Nice, man. Look, I will say this. The Rangers do have some aging players. The pitching, despite the age, though, pretty freaking legit. Flash, I'm with you. We were saying that's kind of the point that I made about Seager, right? The comment was, it feels like we're one at bat away every game. And I kind of feel that way too. You look at today's game, it could have gone either way if Josh Smith clutches up in the top of the 8th, top of the 9th. If we get a clutch up from Josh Smith, it's a tie ball game. He hits a home run. We're up 3-1. There were a lot of different moments in today's game where it could have gone either way. And the point is, Flash, I think you're making this point too, brother. Like the point is, if you have Corey Seager, sorry, I had to do the little TikTok verification thing since we're over an hour on the show now. If you have Seager, maybe he's the guy, maybe he's the one at bat that helps you win a ball game. Like that is my humble opinion on Corey Seager. Is he going to, totally change the dynamic? No. I think the games are still going to be tight, but you're down 2-1. There's a runner on base. Maybe Corey gives you that 2-run blast that wins the game, or he puts that double in the gap to tie it. That's the kind of stuff I think that we're talking about. Like, having Corey back will improve the clutch moments, and maybe we still play tight games, but we end up winning the tight games because we've got a guy like Seager that's not afraid of the bright lights. It totally. Every pitch mostly... every game mostly does go either way based on a couple of pitches here and there. Now, that being said, there are some games that are closer than others. The Yankees and the Rangers, I think, played tight baseball almost all the way through this series. And some series are a little bit more lopsided. You're getting, 8-2, 8-1, 6-1, 6-0. These games are all really tight and genuinely could have gone either way at different times. Yankees earned it. We're not like taking away anything from the Yankees. The Yankees earned it. They had a good series in terms of pitching, did great in that department, just like the Rangers did. And they had big hits when they needed it. Right? Their comeback last night, as painful as it was to watch, that's the kind of stuff the Rangers need. And that's the kind of stuff the Rangers aren't doing right now. Like Cody Bellinger hitting the home run to pull him within 1. You had Aaron Judge with a clutch hit. Like there's that element that's missing from Texas right now. And so I would say the difference is the Yankees at this moment in time, they have players that are more clutch than what we have. We have guys that have the propensity to be clutch, but it's not happening right now. The Yankees have that. Cody Bellinger, late inning clutch home run, and then Aaron Judge, clutch single to give the Yankees the lead, wasn't it, last night? Trying not to relive it. But that's my point. You've got clutch players on the Yankees, and right now, the Rangers do not have a plethora of that. Hey, appreciate that. Queens NY, appreciate you, man. Yeah, 2023 was a magical year. It was a magical year. I would have liked, I know that the Diamondbacks being in it kind of ruined like the team that had never won it versus like the big market team that's always in it, right? It kind of would have been fun. Maybe the Rangers square off against a team like the Dodgers. By the way, that was my World Series pick this year, but it's not looking great with how the Rangers offense is going so far through the first 50 games or so. But when the Diamondbacks entered the chat in that 2023 year, it was kind of like you got two small market teams going at it. And I know that Texas isn't small market per se, but I think you know what I mean. In terms of viewership, Texas is not drawing a crazy number. I mean, we're going to do our best as diehards to get it up there. But look, it's not drawing a Yankees-Dodgers number. It's not drawing a Red Sox number. It's not drawing a Phillies number. I mean, those to me are the big markets, even though Dallas-Fort Worth is a huge market. I'm talking purely about eyes on the game. And in the Rangers, it's not a huge draw. That was one of the lower-rated World Series. It would have been fun to go up against a powerhouse. I'll take the Diamondbacks matchup in the win all day long. I'm not complaining at all. So don't get it twisted. But absolutely, I think a lot of people were rooting for Texas, back to the point, full circle, to win their first World Series. The Diamondbacks, clearly, they won one, 22, 23 years ago against the Yankees. But I think a lot of people recognizing Texas had never won a World Series were cheering for something like that. I find myself getting behind teams that have never won it. Kind of depends on who it is, right? If it's the arch rival, maybe not. But I think a lot of people were interested in seeing Texas get their first ring. Look, Flash, I'm with you. I think it does feel like we're still kind of a smaller market team, even though we're not. And let's be honest, the Rangers have one of the biggest payrolls in baseball. It's weird to say out loud, but let me go to top payrolls in baseball right now, and I'll kind of tell y'all what I'm talking about here. So, of course, you've got some of the classics up there, right? You've got the Mets, you've got the Dodgers, Yankees, Phillies, Blue Jays. Rangers are at number 6 right now. The Rangers have the 6th highest payroll in baseball. Only the Mets, Dodgers, Yankees, Phillies, and Blue Jays have a higher payroll than the Texas Rangers do. And that's what we're saying. Like, it's not a small market team in terms of what they're spending. They're spending a ton of money. It's a small market feel, though, in that the Rangers aren't probably going to draw the numbers that some of those teams in front of them are drawing. I'm surprised Boston's not up there. Weird not to see the Red Sox up there right now. Yeah, look, Robertson, though, the problem with him is if you give Robertson what he wants, which I think was a double-digit million contract, maybe that's going to be a little down now that 50 games are in. Maybe you're only going to pay him something like $6-7 million. But Robertson, you'd have to move somebody in order to make it work unless he's taking a steep discount. Robertson was wanting to get paid this offseason, and I think he's been talking to some different teams. In fact, let me see here. Let me see if there's any David Robertson news out there. Phillies reached out to David Robertson before the Alvarado suspension. So the Phillies right now are the hot take on where David Robertson is going next. It's a lot of Phillies. So we'll see. Sporzy, I think, is coming back, Andrew, in July. I don't think Spores is going to be back before July. I think right around the beginning of July is what they're hoping. I would love, Flash, if we got Kyle Tucker. Kyle Tucker is going to be one of the most sought out after free agents since, Harper. It's not going to be Ohtani levels, but look, Tucker is going to get a ton of interest, and I'd love if the Rangers sign Kyle Tucker. I just don't think it's going to happen. That contract's going to be massive. I'd love to be in on it. But with how right now Davis and the ownership group is wanting to spend the cash, I can't see it happening. Keep going. AL West has been fairly competitive this year after being kind of a laughing stock last year. I feel like AL West is a little more competitive this year. Gio, good stat. Rangers went 2 for 17 with runners in scoring position. Yikes. Seager did help them win the series against Detroit with the 2 home runs. That was the last we saw, Corey, hitting the 2 bombs, man. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Having Seager back will help. 100%. All right, y'all. We're going to wrap things up with the preview of tomorrow's game. Let's check it out. Continue to appreciate all you guys dropping in comments. I see a bunch of y'all have followed. The likes on the show. What are we, over 2,000 likes? Yes, sir. That works. Thank you. Twisted, what's good? Yeah, pitching, defense, it was great today. But unfortunately, the bats continue to be a problem. Now we go to Chicago. We should be able to get right in Chicago. I'm not going to hold my breath, but we should be able to get right in Chicago. Right now, we've got Tyler Mahle versus Burke. And I don't think there's probably going to be a ton of stats for either guy because it's just a lot of new players both ways. And Burke is pretty green in his MLB career. Burke has faced one Texas Rangers player, and that's Kyle Higashioka, who is 0 for 2 against him. Mahle has faced 5 of the White Sox players. Robert Jr. is 0 for 2. Rojas, the third baseman, is 0 for 10. Slater, the right fielder, is 1 for 5. Taylor, who's another right fielder on the club, is 0 for 1. And Vaughn, the first baseman, is 1 for 2. So you really don't have a ton of a sample size to go off of in the game tomorrow. We all know about Tyler Mahle and just how dominant he has been over his last, 11 games, however many he started. But let me tell you a little bit about Burke and the games that he's coming into this one with. So he got torched last time out against the Cubs, 4 2/3, 5 runs. Before that, though, he limited Kansas City to 1 run over 6 1/3, and he limited the Miami Marlins to 1 run over 4 innings. So he's coming off a bad start, but the 2 before that were actually pretty good. 4.69 ERA, not really a strikeout guy. 33 strikeouts in 48 innings pitched, so feels like a pitch to contact type hitter. Hopefully that goes well for Texas, even though we're creating career highs in strikeouts. Didn't Warren on Tuesday night have a career high in strikeouts? Jeez. Twisted, you broke down and paid the subscription to watch what? Rangers Sports Network? The Rangers Network? That's great. Awesome, man. Look, I do MLB TV, and so I get to watch pretty much everything. And, if you get the right VPN, you can really not get blacked out at all. I'm not going to say too much more. Don't want to get in trouble, but I think that that's the way to go, honestly. Instead of buying all the subscriptions, I would buy MLB TV. Even if you're local in DFW, get a VPN, get a good VPN, you're good to go. I think that would be how I would do it if I was living in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Forget all these different subscription packages that you need to get. Just buy MLB TV, get a VPN, you're good to go. Let's see. Rusty, nice, man. Appreciate the humor. We keep going. Buff streams. Hey, there's a lot of that stuff out there. Look, it doesn't take much. Do a little Google search. I don't want to advertise the streaming too much, but 100%, man. There's so many options. I would never want to buy all the different subscriptions that you have to get to watch some of these teams. For me, I don't want to always deal with some of those different sites that are kind of slow and laggy at times, and they're way behind on the play, sometimes like 30 seconds to a minute behind the action. Sometimes I just want something a little more straightforward, but there's a lot of options out there. Stream East is another one, 100%. 5 goals in the third is a lot. Yes, sir. Appreciate all y'all. So tomorrow we're going to be back late night after the game's over. Well, late for some of y'all. Early if you're out on the West Coast like me, but hopefully we'll be talking under better circumstances. We did not get a win in this series. I'm ready to watch one tomorrow. Come and join us. Come and hang out once again. I want to say again a special thank you to everybody that followed, everybody that commented, everybody that shared the live, and I really appreciate it. It's little things, step by step, day by day. We're trying to keep building up this channel to be a real voice in Rangers baseball. I feel like it already is, but we can always expand, continue to get bigger, and you guys are a big part of that. I want to say a special thank you to all of my paid subscribers and members that have been hanging out today. Again, if you want to just give back in a little way, if you've been a long-time viewer, you've enjoyed the content, and you want to support a little bit more, hit that subscribe button right next to the chat. $2.99 will get you priority comments, replies, and access to our exclusive Ride on Rangers Discord. Ton of fun. If you are on YouTube, I'll post the link one more time for y'all. And I think X and all those other socials, you should be able to get it as well. Appreciate you guys considering. Thank you for all your support, though, regardless. It means a lot to me. It doesn't go unnoticed. I don't take it for granted. And look, it doesn't always go our way. Rangers, last 3 games, it ain't it. But we show up, we're here, and we're ready for the game tomorrow. Come hang out with us. I'm going to take off for tonight. Hope you guys have a good rest of your Thursday. And as I always say to end every show, God bless and go Rangers.